Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, coming to you from behind lockdown lines in Australia. Okay, so well, firstly, I hope you enjoy the ride. Secondly, I wanted to just give you an idea of what's going on in Australia. I have had viewers sending me I guess links to sites on the social media that are portraying Australia as a police state under, quarantining everybody, and it gives me an idea as to how conspiracy theories start. So Australia is building a quarantine facility down in Victoria. They're doing this because previously, when people came in from overseas, we would quarantine them in hotels in the middle of the city. And with the Delta variant, the strain is escaping from the quarantine facilities. So the pressure has been on our federal government to build these quarantine facilities. They're actually doing that, albeit maybe a year and a half to 2 years too late, but anyway. So when people fly into Australia, when our international borders open, they will go down to a particular hotel in the middle of nowhere and quarantine for 14 days while ever COVID is around. It's that simple. Now, the links that have been sent to me depict like a concentration camp is being built to house Australians in it. And of course, you can see how all of these narratives get mixed up, get amplified. The people who are amplifying them, I think, there's a portion that actually know that it's not true, but they do it for a whole bunch of reasons, including to make money, to gain followers and grift. So I just wanted to clear that up. The next thing I would say about life in lockdown is I guess it's relative, isn't it? I was going to say it's a tough lockdown, but then you look at what's going on in Afghanistan and you go, well, these are first world problems. But just to keep you up to date as to what we're doing here, as you know, we've had limited access to vaccines, and this is the case for a big part of the world. If you're outside of the US or the UK, which have seemed to have really, and to a certain extent some parts of Europe, have had access to all the vaccines they probably want or need. In Russia, they have their vaccine, which is shown to be pretty ineffective in some areas. In China, again, they have their own vaccine, which they've made available to in this region, in the Indonesian region, the Asia Pacific, I guess, regions, and it's been shown to be not as effective as vaccines like Pfizer, Moderna, or even AstraZeneca. So we have had to go into lockdown while ever our population isn't highly vaccinated. Until we reach about 80% of the population vaccinated, we can't come out of lockdown. Why? People are saying, why? Let's just let it rip. Because Australia has a population of 26 million and we have universal health care here, which is very good. But our hospital and other resources are limited. Every patient with COVID needs to be in an isolation ward. We have a certain number of ICU beds. In some hospitals around the country, there is no ICU unit. Right now, our health system is under huge strain, to the extent that nurses in the private sector, because we do offer a private sector healthcare model, as well as sits alongside a public universal healthcare model. Our nurses in our private sector have been brought to work into our public health sector because we have so many nurses in quarantine as a result of exposure to COVID, and it's broken out in our hospitals as well. So we can't just let it rip until we get a certain number of people vaccinated. That's the harsh truth of COVID, of the Delta strain. It's so highly infectious that governments have had to move into lockdown because their health systems collapse, which brings me to what's happening in Alabama in America. So the chief medical officer there is warning of a imminent collapse of the health system. So, you know, it's probably hard for us to look on at the Americans who won't get vaccinated with a world-class vaccine, which has, if it's not received full approval from the FDA, soon will. It's pretty hard for us to look on and see what's going on over there, knowing that our country is in lockdown. So, and we would give, we want to be vaccinated, we just can't find the vaccination. So we've got probably now good access to AstraZeneca, and a lot of our people, regardless of their age, are taking AstraZeneca. We don't have good access to Pfizer yet. Okay, so AstraZeneca, of course, the younger you are, the higher the chance of blood clotting risk. So I'm due for my second shot on Tuesday. I'll be really glad when I have that. Nobody has died in Australia who's had two shots of the vaccine. I'll be a lot more comfortable when my children have been vaccinated, and they're all due to be vaccinated during September. So fingers crossed for us. So life in lockdown. We are only allowed out for 1 hour a day. That 1 hour, which I'm spending with you here, but on my e-bike, 1 hour a day, and that's for exercise only. Other than that, everything is shut up and locked down. So that's our life in lockdown. It's all right in the short term, but in some states of Australia, like Victoria, they were in lockdown, I think, for 200 days out of 365 days. And a lot of the Victorians are over lockdown, but they'll grit their teeth and they will continue with their lockdown. So as you can see, I'm making the most of my time out today, and I'll pick this up shortly. I'm hoping that I can do a tarot card reading, but we'll see. A lot of people are out and about making use of that 1 hour a day, 5 kilometre zone. As long as we exercise within that 5 kilometres zone, we're okay. Hello, I'm now sitting down, taking a break, and I thought I'd throw some cards. I've had viewers asking me, you know, what happens after the Delta, the Lambda strain, I think is in South America at the moment. You know, we've got a whole alphabet to get through. Are we going to see more virulent strains, or is it simply going to disappear for a whole bunch of reasons, like the Spanish flu did, and you know, we can get on with things. So let's have a look. I've got crows in the background, in case anyone's wondering. Is COVID going to peter out? Something's coming up. We've got the Knight of Pentacles, so that's like a longer term view. You know, that it's you know, going to be reasonably slow moving through our societies. When I say slow moving, no quick ends in sight, perhaps. I don't know. Let's get some get some detail here. So, are we going to see new, more infectious strains after Delta, Lambda? Are we going to see more virulent strains of COVID in the future? So I've got the Six of Swords, which means that we're going to move forward, we're going to move out of troubled waters. So that's quite positive. That Knight of Coins could mean that we are sustainably able to get through this. The Ace of Pentacles talks about new starts being offered. And I've got the Knight of Pentacles. So we will move forward through this. I don't think it's miraculously going to disappear, but in some way we're able to get on top of it. In other words, we will be able to move out of the sometimes dire situations that some of us are in, including Australia. Are we going to see, are the vaccinations going to work? Are vaccinations generally, whether they tweak them, whether they add booster shots, are the vaccinations going to work? So we've got the Four of Swords. So for some they will, for others no. So this is like breakthrough infections. But that can also, Four of Swords can also mean retreat. Let's get some clarity. The Page of Pentacles, we will be able to move forward. You know, the feeling I'm getting in this read is that there's no, we expect quick solutions. We expect next week, next month, next year to be all fine. It is some way off. It's just not going to disappear is what I'm getting. But the vaccinations are going to hold. I think for the vast majority. We've got the Justice card here. And I've always thought that COVID and the timing of this is all about something that we had to experience, that wake-up call that I was talking about yesterday. We've got manifestation, meaning that the magician is here and is able to really create something effective against, against COVID generally, regardless of the strain, and we will be victorious. So these are good cards for the question that I asked. I think the vaccinations are going to hold. Whatever they do in the future to tweak them, we'll be able to manage COVID. So will we have to live with COVID like we live with the flu, and we manage it through vaccinations, through being careful, and I guess through individual choice for those that for whatever reason can't get vaccinated. Not everybody has a flu shot, for example, and the flu can be potentially quite deadly as well. So are we going to learn to live with this COVID-19? Are we going to learn to live with COVID-19? And I'm getting yes, and there's a period of time. The World card, endings and new beginnings. So there will be an end in sight. There will be some sort of new beginnings. But there's also the World card, which means that we're all in this together. And the Emperor taking control until we, the WHO, is saying no boosters, boosters not required yet. You can see some kangaroos. Yay, guys! I got some kangaroos. How lucky am I? Okay, so the WHO is saying, look, not just at the moment. Gee whiz, they're all on guard. I'll flick this around and show you before I finish. Okay, so taking control, but really extending that. It's a world effort, I feel. And we've got disappointment and really irony, bitterness here, unless we help, all of us help our neighbour, our neighbouring countries, our allies, the third world, the developing countries. Unless we do that, we're not in this together, and we won't have that soft kind of going forward in a coordinated way. So, I do feel that we've got a way to go yet. I'm just keeping my eye on the kangaroos. Okay, so something's come out, the King of Cups. So we've got to be this nurturing influence here to those who aren't as fortunate as what we are about. So one of the things that came through very strongly in my last reading is service to others. If we forget that tenet, what are we? Okay, so are we going to unite to make sure that we bring everybody along in time? Something's coming out, 10 of Pentacles. There's a lot of money invested in all sorts of treatment, from Regeneron through to Pfizer, through to it's about wealth and wealth creation, unfortunately. So wherever you see that, you need to basically advocate for an approach that that really says we're all in it together. But of course, as soon as any kind of danger comes up, we get fearful about, oh, they're going to infect us, they're going to overrun our borders, why should we help them? All of those sort of attitudes. Okay, so is the world going to come together? We have to strengthen the bodies that actually do vaccinate other countries. Otherwise, we've got the Tower card, being able to transform misfortune. Part of that is through helping other people. The Wheel of Fortune, things changing, that Jupiter Aquarius energy. This isn't a sprint toward who's got the most vaccines. It's actually larger than that. And until we do that, the Eight of Wands, we're going to get, I think, these new variants emerging. But we've got this new start here. So all of these lessons are going to count. We're going to learn the lessons. They're going to count, I feel. Thankfully. What are we if we can't learn from our mistakes? Okay, so are we going to learn through this whole COVID-19? Are we learning? Are we going to learn? Yep. Well, the Devil card will keep appearing. You can't, look no further than US, where you've got vaccines in their millions being thrown out and people refusing to be vaccinated and swallowing worming tablets. We were drenching our sheep and our horses and our livestock with ivermectin decades ago. They'd rather put that in their mouth than take a vaccine. Until we transform that energy, we're going to learn those lessons. Five of Swords, sabotage, abuse of power. Crikeys, coming together and rebuilding. So yeah, the lessons are going to be harsh until we come together in that way. And it's not just about making sure our borders are okay, the people within our borders are okay. Of course, all governments are going to do that. They have a duty to do that to their citizens, but we cannot ignore the rest of the world. And on that note, because yeah, until we kind of move through that energy, the Tower card is there. So I don't know, something to think about. And I might add that our Australian government isn't taking enough Afghans who helped our Australian soldiers. So we're all in this one way or another, whether it's devil energy or it's victory energy, or if it's the Ace of Cups, the King of Cups, that kind of energy where we're helping, the Three of Pentacles, helping one another. But some of what detracts from all of those efforts is the sheer power of big money and big profits and dark money and power and money that all the time does us no favours. But that's the human condition, isn't it? It's all back to individual choice at the end of the day. Thank you for tuning in. Bye for now. Standing up. I don't know how well you can see them, but they're all standing up there. Some of them are reasonably close and some of them are on cue, jumping away and giving us some good footage. So, promise fulfilled. There is your kangaroos. They seem like they're listening. They're listening to my card reading. I wonder what they make of it. There you go. Job done. Bye for now.